Everybody, welcome back to another Python video. This is the fifth video in our series on image processing, and the focus of this video will be swapping two color channels. So in particular, we're going to be swapping the red color with the blue, or the red values with the blue values in this image that I have loaded here. So let's take a look at ARR. Remember, this is just the NumPy representation of my image. And if I look at ARR, this is the first pixel. It's the top upper left corner. And we can see here 83, 161, 148. 83 is the red, 161 is the green, and 148 is the blue. So let's say I want to swap the red and the blue. So before we even try doing this on this three-dimensional array, what if I just copied this set of RGB values and I said something like my list equals 83, 161, 148. Now remember, I want to swap 83 and 148. And this is a little bit more tricky than you might think initially. So especially if this is your first time programming, I'm going to show you a way that is super common as a mistake, and then we'll talk about how to fix it. So the first thing you might think to do is say, okay, well, my list of 0, I want that to be my list of 2, and my list of 2, I want that to be my list of 0. So take a moment and see if you can predict what's going to happen, what's going to go wrong. So let's look at my list. So what happened here is this blue value, 148, got passed to the red channel, but notice this last element here didn't get updated to 83. So what's happening is when we say my list of 0 equals my list of 2, that's setting this 83 to 148, but then by the time we get to my list of 2, my list of 0 is already 148. So this hopefully should show that we need to be a little bit more careful. I'll show you one solution. There's lots of different ways you could do this, but maybe here's the first way you might think of. So we can say my list. Again, we're going to start with the same set of colors. And then what I'm going to do, actually, I already have my list defined. What I'm going to do first is let's create a temporary variable. I'm going to say temp equals my list of 0. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say my list of 0 equals my list of 2. And then I'm going to say my list of 2 is equal to temp. So now let's take a look at my list. Oops, all right, something went wrong here still. So let's see, we have temp equals my, oh, does anybody see? It's because I didn't change my list from here. So what I'm going to do is I really should have started with my list here. All right, looking good. So remember, first element here is 148, so we swapped the blue and the red. Great, so now we need to take this idea and apply it to all of ARR. So let's think carefully about how we're going to do that. Remember, I'm going to start by making a copy of ARR so that I can edit it. So I'm going to say ARR.copy and set that equal to B. Then I'm going to say temp equals ARR. Take all rows, all columns, give me the 0 values, so the red values. Then, okay, so that's our temporary value. I'm going to say, oops, and does anybody see I've already made a mistake here? I really want this to be with B, the copy that I can edit. So I'm going to say B, take all rows, all columns in the 0th channel, set that equal to B. I keep wanting to do ARR. Set that equal to B of everything in the blue channel. Then B, take all rows, all columns in the blue channel, and set that equal to temp. So as it stands, this is going to run with an error. Think about, it's actually kind of a subtle error. So maybe you see it, maybe not, but let's run this and see what happens. So, okay, no error, but like no error message from Python, but let's see what happens. Let's look at B00. So notice here, this is 148, 161, 148. So remember, this really should have been 83, right? We wanted to swap this first element here. So what's going on here is, let's take a look at temp. So temp is saying B of take all rows, all columns, 0. But remember, this is just pointing to what B is. So kind of, it's referencing B. So if B changes, temp changes. So the way we fix this is by, again, making a copy. So I can say .copy, and then we can run this again, and now let's take a look. So this is looking great. Maybe one other thing I should have done before I made the copy. So I'm gonna kind of remove this just for a moment, and kind of like we did in a previous video, I'm going to say from sys for system, import get size of, just to show you kind of why we should be suspicious. If I get size of temp, oops, get size of, it's saying here 128, so this is a lot smaller than it should be, right? Basically, this is taking all of the red values in this giant image. So that's kind of our hint that something's going wrong. So again, maybe I'll copy paste this code. And again, what did we need? Well, just to copy. So that works just fine. But maybe one thing I want to do is show you an even easier solution that works because we're in this specific case. So I'm going to copy paste this, and I claim I could even just delete this line. Reason being is ARR already, so remember ARR, I can't change it, I can just read it. So I could just say ARR here, and I could say this is ARR, I want it to be everything in the 0 channel. And then now let's take a look at B00. And we can see that's exactly what I want. So, okay, that's how we swap color channels. I could end the video here, but you're probably curious, what does this image look like? So let's remind ourselves, what does image look like? So this is the image that kind of the array is based on, representing. Here's our original image. Now what I need to do is I need to take B, turn it into an image, because right now it's just an array, so let's do it. I'm going to say image dot from array of B. And this is the difference. So this is what happens if we take all of the red and swap it with all of the blue. Pretty strange, huh? So, all right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.